Nurses witness the full human experience. First breaths, last breaths, and everything in between. That's why we talk about more than nursing. We talk faith, family, health, culture, politics, and the moral courage it takes to live with integrity right now. And for nurses listening, many episodes are CE eligible. Check the episode notes for details. If this episode encourages or inspires you, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and drop a quick comment or review. It helps more people find Nurses Out Loud. All right, let's get into it. Today's episode of Nurses Out Loud is brought to you by Coco Pharmacy. If you felt dismissed for asking about options outside the one-size-fits-all system, Coco offers compounded medications, telehealth visits with a licensed provider, and education support so you're not navigating alone. If you want to discuss options like ivermectin, they'll evaluate what's appropriate for you. Go to cocopharmacy.com. That's COCOA pharmacy.com. I'm going to say something that should not be controversial. Consent under pressure isn't consent. And no one, no nurse, no student, no doctor, resident, or worker in a hospital should ever have to choose between a medical intervention and their livelihood. Welcome to Nurses Out Loud. Today, we're leading with a case supporters are urging the U.S. Supreme Court to hear. Bridges versus Methodist Hospital, docket 25-481. People are watching because on January 9th, 2026, it will be a key moment when the Supreme Court decides whether or not to move forward or decline to hear this case. Then at the end of the episode, I'm giving you an update on where Nurses Out Loud is headed next, because we're entering a global season and you're going to want to hear why. Today's episode is sponsored by Righteous RN. If you're a nurse who wants to protect your license, integrity, and your peace, go to righteousrn.com. That's where my ethics education lives and where this next season is taking shape. And quick housekeeping, guys. Follow the correct show. It's Nurses Out Loud with no spaces on your favorite podcast app. And follow us on Substack too, because that's where I can post links, updates, and action steps without the algorithm burying them. So make sure you're following both. I also want to say this is the 4th year that Nurses Out Loud has been on air. We have delivered over 700 shows, guys, or almost 700 shows, I should say. And it's been quite a time to be alive. And part of that reason why you even know me now is because of what we're going to talk about in this Supreme Court case. So here's the stakes. If a healthcare worker can be pressured into compliance through fear of job loss, withholding their livelihood, their paycheck, then informed consent gets distorted. And when informed consent is distorted, patients don't win, the system wins. Now, Jennifer Bridges was a med-surg nurse at Houston Methodist, and like many others that she worked with, did not want to take the COVID shot. It was offered to healthcare workers in that initial rollout period. You remember, December 2020 into early 2021. And a lot of us had questions. A lot of us were not comfortable. For many, it was conscience, discernment, faith, medical concerns, uncertainty. Many of us had been working with COVID patients or in a hospital for the entire 2020, and we understood the risk associated, and we did not want to comply, right? We did not want to voluntarily take the shot. But then the tone changed, because by the middle of 2021, the hospital started moving toward mandating it. And the message people heard was, take it or lose your livelihood. And that's when Jennifer knew something needed to be done, and she had the courage to talk about it. Many signed the petition. often in secret, meeting in break rooms, back corners, and sometimes she even told me in closets because they didn't want to be seen publicly signing their name to disagreement. And I want you to hear how insane that is. Fear inside a hospital about a medical intervention in healthcare in America. Well, Jennifer brought the case, and ultimately she was fired along with many other employees. But here's the deeper issue. People took the shot even though they didn't want to, because they wanted to keep their paycheck, to keep their place on the team. And some truly believed they were doing it to protect their patients. And that's a big problem in nursing, because if you cannot honor your own autonomy, then how do you expect to advocate and honor someone else's? As nurses, this is what we're called to do. The Code of Ethics is explicit about dignity, rights, advocacy, and the responsibility to protect those in our care. So this case has been hanging on by a thread for years, and now it's at the Supreme Court, and supporters are urging the court to hear it. This is coercion dressed up as consent. Consent under pressure is not consent. And again, if you can't honor your own autonomy, how do you honor your patients? So now let's talk about why it's so hard to give informed consent in that era. Because informed consent isn't just a sign here. It's understanding known risk, expected benefits, what's unknown, and choosing freely. But the shot was new. The information was evolving fast. And culturally, what people heard constantly was safe and effective, safe and effective, safe and effective, without enough humility for what was still unknown, what was still developing, and what people were still observing in real time. So I'm asking a basic ethical question here. How can someone truly give informed consent when the information environment is one-sided? Questions are treated like rebellion, and the consequence became shot or paycheck. Now, I'm going to tell you two stories, not to declare causation on this podcast, but to explain why open dialogue, scientific discourse, and discussion, and why safety reporting matters. I went back to the bedside after I blew the whistle, and I met nurses, okay? There was one nurse that I worked with who, in a conversation we were having at the nurses station, said, yeah, I took the shot and I think I was injured by it. Matter of fact, I know I was injured by it. And I was like, oh, tell me the story. And she said that she took the shot and then she left and went to go run errands. About an hour later, she noticed that her throat was closing up, became itchy. It became harder to breathe. And she drove back to the hospital, right? Because we're kind of like, we do that kind of thing. We're like, it's not going to happen to us. But she drove back to the hospital and almost immediately they intubated her. When she woke up the next day, quick pause here. Nurses, this episode may be CE eligible. If you want to earn continuing education credit for listening, check the episode notes for the link and instructions. They asked her what had happened. What did she do? What changed? And she said, well, I had just gotten the COVID shot and I went to go run errands. And the response from medical staff was basically, oh, it can't be that. Meanwhile, she's still suffering fallout. Some autoimmune conditions have popped up and other issues. But here's the problem. That case was not reported to VAERS as a safety signal. And story number 2 happened when I was working. And I have many stories, guys. I mean, over the years, I've heard from thousands of you. If you go into any of my social media and see posts, you will hear everybody's stories. But this other one was a nurse a young nurse in her 20s, completely healthy, no medical history, had just gotten married not too long prior to her taking the shot and was looking to start a family, to get pregnant. And she wound up and wearing a Holter monitor, being off of work for months. And when she came back, she couldn't provide direct patient care because she kept, quote, passing out, and they could not understand why. Now, get this. She's newly married, trying to have a baby. Her life was put on hold. And that happened after the shot as well. And again, that case was not reported to VAERS as a safety signal either, because people didn't correlate the two. We couldn't even talk about it in healthcare. You remember? But nurses, it's not our job to determine causation or, or correlation. It's our job to collect the data, safety signals, documentation, reporting, so that causation could be investigated properly. Because you can't investigate what you don't measure, right? So my question is simple. If we weren't consistently collecting safety signals, how many stories like this did we miss? And I'll say it like this. Reporting isn't a verdict. It's a signal. I want you guys to reach out to me. If you're watching this on Rumble or YouTube, or just listening to it on the podcast, comment. Comment below what your thoughts are on this. Because there was a reason why nurses and healthcare professionals, or anybody in the hospital for that matter, had to be coerced by summer of 2021, right? We were offered it right in the very beginning, and many people didn't want it. But they doubled down and said, okay, you don't want to freely take it because we're giving it to you. We're going to put your paycheck over your head or your license up on the line if you talk anything bad against it. But a quick break. Today's episode is brought to you by Righteous RN. If you're a nurse who's tired of feeling unprepared when policy, pressure, or retaliation shows up, go to righteousrn.com. My flagship course, Navigating Ethical Waters, a comprehensive approach to nursing ethics post-2020 training, is built to protect your license, strengthen your integrity, and help you find peace in the middle of chaos. That's righteousrn.com. Now, here's the ask. Supporters are urging the court to grant cert. It is a name, certiorari, or something like that. I've heard it pronounced several different ways, but just say grant cert, which means agree to hear the case. We need SCOTUS to hear this case. Okay? And here's what I'm asking you to do. To share this episode, comment 25-481 so people can find the case. And if you want the contact list and the exact message to send, I will put it in the show notes and on Substack, because the message is simple. Please support Supreme Court review of Bridges versus Methodist Hospital, docket 25-481, and urge the court to grant cert and hear the case. And don't harass anyone. Don't contact judges. Just keep it lawful, respectful, and focused, because public pressure works best when it stays principled. If the court declines to hear this case, this precedent stands. And in the next declared, quote, emergency, workers could face the shot or paycheck pressure again. And guys, we cannot allow that to happen. When you call or email, you just say, hi, my name is Jodi O'Malley, for example. I respectfully request support for Supreme Court review of Bridges versus Methodist Hospital, docket 25-4851, and urge the court to grant cert. Thank you. You can contact WhiteHouse.gov /contact. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Their main number is 1-877-696-6775. Again, I'll say it. 1-877-696-6775. And you can get through to the FDA commissioner from there, the CMS administrator, NIH director. And then there's also senators like Senator Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, Ron Johnson from Wisconsin, Roger Marshall from Kansas, and there's many others. So I will be putting this in the notes, in the show notes, and also on the Substack page. Okay, that's just go to NursesOutLoud.substack.com. You can be a supporter, which I would absolutely appreciate, or you can just subscribe and it's for free, and you will get drops whenever I drop a show, just delivered to your email. So please take this show and share it with everyone in the Nurses Station, guys. It's so important that we elevate our voices. We are millions strong in this country, and I know there's so many that did not want to take the shot or that got harmed from the shot. And that's a whole nother episode that I could do on that. But again, we should never, no matter if it's an EUA product or a fully licensed FDA product, ever be coerced between our paycheck and our conscience. Okay. Now, this is also exciting. Here's what I mean by global season. Healthcare became more than clinical after 2020. It became ethical, legal, spiritual, and cultural. Nurses were put under pressure that most people will never understand unless they lived it. So this next season, I'm building nurses up. Discernment, ethics, moral courage, and making education accessible. I was just granted my long-term provider certification. And that means that yours truly, which I'm so stoked about, can put out unlimited CEUs, okay? And you can earn CEUs by listening to the podcast. This is education that's going to meet you where you actually are, in your car, on a walk, driving to work, living real life, nurses, because nurses don't just need information. We need a framework for pressure, coercion, institutional conflict, retaliation, and the moral injury that follows. I can also give CEUs for your courses that you want to do. So there's so much that's happening, and I'm just super stoked about it. My flagship course that's out there right now at righteousrn.com is called Navigating Ethical Waters, a comprehensive approach to nursing ethics. It's 11 modules with 10 CEUs attached, and it's built explicitly for nursing post-2020. And here are the module titles. The Foundation, the Code, Moral Courage, and Why Ethics Matters Now. The Provisions of Nursing Ethics, what they actually require. I don't know if many of you know this, but in 2025, the American Nurses Association updated the Code of Ethics. It's the first time since 2015 that this code has been updated. Okay, very important information in here. The evolving landscape of nursing, post-2020 ethical challenges, advocacy in nursing, speaking up when it's costly, interdisciplinary collaboration, communication, conflict, and safety, policies, protocols, and patient outcomes when policies harm care, shared decision-making and informed consent, facilitating trauma-informed communication, moral injury and institutional trauma, patient-centered care, aligning care with the patient, not pressure. Addressing division within the profession. Unity without compromise. And lastly, the ethical imperative to speak out. Whistleblowing, retaliation, and integrity. I endured 18 board complaints against my license when I spoke out, and a formal ethics review cleared me of those allegations. Okay, guys, that's why it's so important. Many people could not believe that my license was still intact. But not only was my license still intact, I didn't do anything wrong. I did what a nurse is ethically called to do. And that's what I want to teach you. And also, too, Jennifer Bridges, the nurse that brought the case up against Houston Methodist that's in the Supreme Court, she's in this course. She comes and speaks to you guys directly. She's in this course in several different modules because her story is a real world case study of conscience, coercion, consent, and retaliation. Now, Nurses Out Loud, we are entering a global season because nursing ethics is not just an American issue. Coercion, retaliation, moral injury, informed consent are global conversations now. And I'm building what I wanted for years. Education that meets nurses where they are. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. I was planning on taking the rest of this year off, but this was such important information, and I definitely want to support my fellow whistleblower, Jennifer Bridges, and all of you that knows that what happened in 2020, 2021, should never happen again. So make sure you are following the correct show. If you have followed us before on any of the podcast apps, I am asking you to search for Nurses Out Loud, no spaces. You'll see the logo there with the circle, and follow that on your favorite podcast app. Please rate the show, like, share, follow, comment. It boosts us up in the algorithms. And also follow Substack for the contact list and all the updates. And I'll end where I started. Consent under pressure isn't consent. Shot or paycheck is not a choice. Choose courage. Until next time, friends, be safe, be well, and God bless. And I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, and all the rest. Until next time, friends, this is Jodi O'Malley, and I will see you in the first of the year. If this episode encouraged or challenged you, would you subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and drop a quick comment or review? It helps more people find the show, and it's like saying I'm with you. And please share this episode with a friend, a coworker, or someone who needs it right now. That's how truth travels. Be sure to check out our family of sponsors. They're linked in the episode notes, and your support helps keep this mission moving forward. And don't forget to subscribe to our Substack so you're notified every time a new show drops, with the article, resources, references, and sponsor links all in one place. Until next time, friends, stay grounded in truth, walk in courage, and keep your faith strong.